What was your reaction to the Chargers bouncing back from getting decimated by the Colts last week? What's your reaction to their bounce-back game?
Herbert throws 3 TDs, together with 117 yards rushing by Vidal, led to a 37-10 victory by the Chargers over the Vikings that for Chargers fans was really swell. I thought the Chargers were in control the whole way, basically. I was very surprised that the Vikings defense was so weak in this game. Generally, they have a pretty good defense and a good leader in Flores. I think they got to be quite worried. I mean, in addition to throwing the 3 TDs, Herbert had 62 yards rushing. Well, the Vikings, they had no rushing game at all. Scott, 2 for 16 yards. Aaron Jones back. You'd think they'd get some production out of him. 5 carries for 15 yards. The Chargers knew that, they were going to be throwing it because they couldn't run it at all. I think it was a nice win for the Chargers, who had lost 3 out of 4 and probably were pretty worried to win this game convincingly after they got beat convincingly last week by the Colts. Was a nice bounce back for them, and their record at 5-3 is still very competitive, and I think they'll challenge for a playoff game. They scored 30 points for the first time this year and didn't punt at all in this game. The Vikings now have lost consecutive games for the first time this season, and it happened over a 5-day span, very short turnaround for them in this game. They only had the ball for 21 minutes. They were 3-11 on third down and just 12 first downs the whole game. You mentioned Wentz, 15-27, 144 yards, 1 TD, and 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times, and he was beat up. He has a left shoulder injury, and you could see that it was hurting him a lot. But can't win games without any running game, and we've seen that time in and time out. Teams who cannot run the ball are not going to win.
Well, I think overall, I think that did have a massive impact on the game because it looked like he couldn't step into any throw. He was wincing as he was throwing it. He wouldn't actually complete his throwing motion. He would throw it and then step back because he was afraid of getting hit and feeling what I assume was excruciating pain based on his reaction. But I was thoroughly impressed through and through. The defense stepped up massive after giving up 38 points to Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts, who, again, I think some people are coming around, but a lot of people still think the Colts are frauds or not as good as their 6-1 record and the number 1 running back and Daniel Jones being a top 5 quarterback in the league. All of it, they still think they're a little bit fraudulent. I think their defense had a beautiful comeback. Mickens had his first career interception, but I think the storyline for this game is Herbert is a tremendous player, but he's a really different quarterback when he has Joe Alt out there because he looked very uncomfortable the last 4 games. He barely beat the Miami Dolphins. He kept throwing interceptions. He couldn't push the ball down the field. And early in this game, it looked like it was going to be a repeat of that, where it would have been pick 6 by Isaiah Rodgers, and then it got overturned, 14-point swing, because they ended up going right down the field and scoring a touchdown. So it looked a little bit, for us picking the Chargers to win this game, it was a bit nerve-wracking to all of a sudden see Justin Herbert going out there throwing another interception, which then got housed, but then all of a sudden, lucky, because apparently, it was a controversial decision to overturn that call, but overturning it, and then it's like, okay, and then they finally get going. But yeah, Joe Alt being out there makes a world of difference because now you're not down to your 4th and 5th string offensive lineman. You could actually put in a top 10, top 5 offensive lineman in the league to help out Justin Herbert there. But one of the massive parts of this is you are down Najee Harris. You are down Omari and Hampton. Vidal had a great game, over 100 yards rushing, 2nd time in his career, 2nd time this season. But Justin Herbert's legs were a massive part of this game. A bunch of first downs he ran for were beautiful runs. He left some touchdowns on the board. There was one to Gadsden when towards down the red zone, he decided to break away and run. But ultimately, and that's another part of this, I think his legs were a massive part of this, and I actually want to see more of that. Now, obviously, there's an injury risk there, and Justin Herbert has a little bit of an injury history. But ultimately, I do think that his legs are going to be a massive part of his success if they can't push the ball down the field, maybe throwing the football downfield if they're getting shut down in coverage. But that's another thing. Gadsden, back-to-back tremendous games. I picked him up off the waiver wire from my fantasy team, already bringing me, he had like 15 points or something like that, so helping me out there. But that's the interesting thing. The young guys are helping out the offense massively, and also on the defense. But the offense, The Chargers offense finished with 419 yards and 4 touchdowns. Rookies and second-year players accounted for 71.6% of the total yards of offense, as well as all 4 touchdowns. So their young guys are putting up some serious production. That's coaching. That's having, Justin Herbert, an all-world quarterback there. But I do think what's interesting is this is how Greg Roman's offense has to work. You have to be able to run the ball very effectively in order for the passing game to develop, because I brought the number out there. I don't have it on hand for me right now, but you look at Greg Roman's statistics, you look at his records, under 100 rushing yards, you win about 1/3 of your games. And that's with Lamar Jackson. That's with top-tier Super Bowl appearance Colin Kaepernick. That's with some seriously good quarterbacks. That's with Justin Herbert. And you only win about 1/3 of your games if you rush for under 100 yards. We're seeing a little bit more success now because they have 1 or 2 more major game-changing players. Ladd McConkey's developing. Quentin Johnston's now not dropping every single pass. And I think right now you're building up the offensive line. It's still banged up entirely. Bozeman's the worst center in the NFL, but having Joe Alt there made a world of difference and made
Keenan
Justin Herbert
Allen
look
helps a lot too. And I think having that veteran presence for the young receivers is helpful. I bet it's helped Quentin Johnston quite a bit, and McConkey just looks like a very good talent.
I would also say that it's just a secure guy to have. On third down, who are you going to go to? Let's go to a guy that's been around the league for over a decade and just throw it to him, and there's already a connection there from seasons prior. So you have that guy, you have your security blanket there, then you have a playmaker like Ladd McConkey. Now all of a sudden you have a young tight end in Gadsden. You have your running back Vidal, who had a very good game and has had a very good game this season. You have your playmakers, and by the way, there's still some injuries. The offensive line's banged up. You still don't have a number of pieces on both sides of the ball. And to have a game like this against a defense that doesn't do this, they do not allow games like this. And to do that with the injuries you have, with the performances you had the last month, I thought it was an overall great win for them.
Well, we've given Greg Roman a pretty hard time on past shows. You have about running being a key element of a successful offense for the Chargers, but it seems to be a key element for everybody. Well, the teams that don't run the ball well don't win. You got to have at least a credible running game. It doesn't have to be fantastic, but it's got to be enough so that the defense, so it keeps the defense honest.
Yeah.
And last night that was not the case for the Vikings. I mean, they had Scott with 2 carries for 16 yards, and Aaron Jones coming back off an injury, only 5 carries for 15 yards. Come on. I mean, Carson Wentz out there hurt. I give the guy a lot of credit to play in that game when you could tell he was getting hammered. He had 5 sacks. And why not just hand the ball off more and try to run it?
You were down massive at that point.
They were down big time. So why did it hurt to try to run the ball more? Maybe they could learn something. You got to have a running game to win in the NFL.
Well, I think it was interesting how Aaron Jones comes back from injury and all of a sudden he's just not effective at all. And here's the interesting thing. Kevin O'Connell said in the post game how if J.J. McCarthy's healthy, he'll play. They play the Lions next week. There's no shot they win that game. I'm saying it right now. I checked the point spread as soon as I saw that report. 8.5.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that's shifting more in the Lions' favor coming up for the next week in week 9. I don't think there's any saving grace for this team because Carson Wentz didn't play very well. He had a couple nice moments, but ultimately he wasn't a great quarterback for you. J.J. McCarthy just flat out looked ready for a quarter and didn't look good whatsoever the rest of his time playing before he got hurt. Now coming back against the Detroit Lions, and the Lions I think are coming off of a bye. That's a recipe for just.
I see Wentz.
It's going to be bad.
I see Wentz starting again. I don't think they're going to put McCarthy out there in that situation.
Kevin O'Connell said if McCarthy's healthy, he's playing.
Well, that's if.
Well, I mean, we saw what Carson Wentz looked like. He couldn't throw the ball without, hiding himself.
Yeah, well, they're in trouble. They're not for real, the Vikings right now.
Well, they're trying to find answers. They think they're still a serious contender for a Super Bowl. They have talent. They have Justin Jefferson. I mean, also we have
the way that defense played last night.
Well, also Christian Darrisaw, their left tackle, he went down with an injury and was out for this game. There were a couple injuries there, but ultimately it wouldn't have mattered. That's the overall statement of it. It wouldn't have mattered. The Chargers defense is doing a bunch. The Chargers offense could not be stopped. Brian Flores' defense got cooked badly.
Yeah,
they were able to run the ball. Herbert was able to extend plays with his legs. He was able to throw a very nice deep ball as well. I mean, he was all over the place. Brian Flores, his defense got cooked. So, next week should be interesting. putting J.J. McCarthy out there against the Detroit Lions, that
to be a bad
coming
game,
off of a bye, too.
a bad game,
a
bad game for him to come back. I would think they'd find a way to delay it one more week for him.
I just don't. He looked so unprepared, and I know this is technically his first year starting. He's a second-year player, first year starting. I still have the note there about his just how Michigan never relied on him. I see he averaged 155.6 passing yards a game, and he averaged 17.8, attempts per game? Attempts per game. That's not an NFL starter that you could rely upon, and that was my big worry. If you can't run the ball, you have to rely on J.J. McCarthy's arm. And if he's averaging 17 attempts in college, that just shows Michigan didn't need to because they were all about running game and ground and defense. You have partially the defensive part. The ground game still needs to develop. So we'll see what it looks like. I just think you're going into the Lions' den, literally. You're going to get curb stomped, I think.
No, I think so too.
8.5 point spread.
No,
and that's with Carson Wentz supposedly going to be the quarterback.
Bet now. I mean, I think the point spread's going to get higher.
I might. I think it's unfair to bet 2 weeks in ahead, although it is a good bet. Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this clip of the Harvey Hour. If you want to watch the full show, you can by clicking the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to take the show with you on the go, it is available wherever you get your podcast. We go live here on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a video and whenever we go live.